Welcome back to the shop. So I've got a bit of a yard sale going on here on the bench because we're making some big changes in the engine compartment. If you're looking for a sweet deal on a badass intake manifold setup for LS3, let me know. Let's check it out. I present to you my new LS7. Well, pieces of it anyway. The intake change was kind of the last piece of the puzzle and something I'd been planning for a little while. Started with a block, then a rotating assembly, and to top it off, a set of CNC'd LS7 cylinder heads. This engine, which will be 415 cubic inch aluminum block, center counterweighted crankshaft. We have a diamond piston that's going out for coating this week, steel H-beam connecting rod, titanium and Inconel valve train, and a bunch of different kind of experimental stuff. I figure this is a great opportunity to learn some new skills and practice some new stuff. So these cylinder heads, they need a little bit of work. So I'm going to look at putting new guides in, doing a little chamber repair and some other stuff there. But overall, this build will be the new racing engine, really the first real racing engine for my Nova. Up until this point, all the years of racing and street driving the car, it's had kind of junkyard builds, you know, pickup truck engines that I've tweaked on, tuned on, modified parts, and really tried to extract as much performance as I could out of it. And the right opportunities presented to get into some better parts finally, and I'm really excited to see what it can do. I've had the really tall hood on the car for a number of years now, and I originally got, I think it's an 8-inch cowl hood. I originally put it on the car, it was carbureted, so I had a nitrous plate, a water injection plate, and a spacer, and the carburetor. On top of all that, I had a carbon fiber air box off a NASCAR, and that big stack height forced me to run a really tall cowl hood. Now, that worked awesome and it made great power, but the only problem was, on the street, it was really hard to see over, and I kind of got tired of that look. Before I wanted to paint the car, I figured, well, I better get a hood that's going to kind of suit my needs, and that kind of led me to thinking, well, then it's probably time to change the intake manifold and redo the turbo kit. Well, if I'm changing the intake manifold, do I consider a different cylinder head? And well, if I'm changing the cylinder head, got me thinking about engine blocks. And with this overall build, kind of just another creative outlet to try some new ideas. So between stuff we've learned on the junkyard engines, everything from combustion chamber design and quench to oiling system, this engine will likely get the dry sump oiling system that I'd worked on in the past. Ultimately, this is another development platform where I get to test out new ideas, try some different stuff. Some of that will involve modifications and different approaches on the block and the oiling side. Some of that will involve modifications on the cylinder heads and the combustion chamber. We're going to look at softening the combustion chambers with a manual milling machine. Bottom end with the center counterweighted crankshaft, good rod and piston, I hope will be really solid. I had only hurt connecting rods really one time with the stock connecting rod, and that was at 37 pounds of boost on the dyno. To be fair, the stock connecting rod survived at around 1100 horsepower. Although this is not the baddest rod you can get for it, it's a pretty decent rod, and I think it should survive up to the 1500 horsepower range, which is kind of my goal for this combo for this car. Yeah, so things are looking quite a lot different under here. So this is a BTR Trinity version 2 intake manifold that is nice and low profile. It's going to fit underneath a flat hood, no problem. Kind of throw the existing intake tube in place so you get a sense. Let's flip it. Kind of get a sense for the look we'll be going for here. So I'm going to roll the compressor housings over, roll these over, redo the cold side intake piping, and tuck everything under the flat hood. I'm going to go through in detail on all the different modifications we're going to do, the repairs in the cylinder head, and the full engine build. I'll take you through it. We'll probably do some pretty thorough dyno testing, calibration, compare it to the LS3 setup, and see what kind of differences we notice, not only in power, but also fuel consumption, timing, combustion dynamics, things like this. I hope that this engine will be able to propel me as fast as we need to go in the quarter mile, and also to do great as a street cruiser while losing a bit of weight, and overall being a reliable package where I don't really have to be as nervous about the connecting rods anymore, which would be nice. I've been running stock GM rods for many, many years. It's great to finally have some race caliber parts in the engine. Technically a junkyard build, but this block is still from the junkyard. I harvested this from an old Escalade. I've already drilled it for 1/2-inch head studs. It's got the ARP main studs in it. I have roller cam bearings that we'll be putting in. Let me grab one of those. This is the roller cam bearing, 55mm journal. So we'll be machining the block oversize. This will replace the factory Babbitt bearing we see here, and it will also block the oil passages on each journal, because this type of needle roller bearing does not require the force-fed oil lubrication that this Babbitt style bearing does. This will do two things. First thing is, while there's some marginal reduction in friction with the roller bearing, really the biggest benefit is the fact that it doesn't require the same oil supply. That means that oil is effectively routed elsewhere in the engine, in particular the rods and the mains, which is where it really needs it. So beyond the engine build, I'm working on a ton of other little details that I think will be kind of interesting, and a bunch of other modifications throughout the engine bay. So if you're interested in seeing the build, the results, some of the details, design, and the findings along the way, check back next time. So this will be a quick one. I hope you're as excited about this as I am. I think it's going to be really cool. As always, kind of apply the scientific method to learn as much as we can and share the findings. Let's do it.